What a blessing. You know, about 20 years ago, an African missionary brought a lot of African pastors to a conference in Houston, Texas. And she knew they were going to be somewhat overwhelmed by the size of the city, but she also knew they would want to go shopping. And so she said to them, you know, I'm going to drop you off down here, go shopping for a while, but if for any reason you get concerned or you feel that you're lost, go to a phone, but before you do, take note of the streets to the north and the south and look at where you are. And let me know where you're at, and I'll come right to you. So one of the gentlemen, sure enough, picked up the phone and called her and said, we really need your help. We're very lost, and please help us out. And she said, well, what street or avenue, where are you? And he said, well, I'm at the corner of Walk and Don't Walk. Now, I know that that's the way that some of you have felt lately. In a place of, wow, I feel a little fragmented. I, at moments, feel somewhat overwhelmed. There's a collective consciousness that is going around. And of course, in New Thought, we talk about that all the time. Be aware of race consciousness. Be aware of the vibrations that are going on around you. You see, in our humanity, we are so brilliantly designed by our Creator that when we go through something and we're shocked, we're having a loss, we're going through a divorce, something is happening to us that we feel we're not engaging in or having total control over. What happens is we kind of somewhat anesthetize ourselves. Our body anesthetizes ourselves so that we, at one given moment, are not having to grasp all of that pain at one time. Are you with me? We're somewhat numb. We're somewhere between walk and don't walk. And the key is that you become this self-actualizing human being that even though you're there and you know you're somewhat fragmented, you know that you're somewhat feeling all of this vibration going on around you, you have the clarity within your own mind that you know that you have control over yourself. Now, the key is, in order to thrive through this particular space that you and I and many find ourselves in, is not to let the four-letter bad word get in your life. You might wonder what that four-letter bad word is. Well, now that you insist on me telling you, it's the word fear. And Elizabeth Gilbert has talked about fear better than anybody I've ever heard. She says this: our fear never changes, it never delights, it never offers a surprise twist or an unexpected ending. Really, fear is a song with only one note, only one word, actually, that continues to repeat itself, and it's on a loud volume, and it's on an endless loop. And that's the word stop. We are equipped with the same basic fear package, and we want to be aware of that, because when you think about it, and this is how she challenges her readers, really, is that what you want to be known for in this particular time as we're working with this virus? You want to be known for using the most non-interesting basic instinct that you have that has nothing original about it, called fear. Are you with me? No, we want to build our lives around our New Thought teachings. We want to build our lives around the value of being awake, of being empowered, of knowing that it has never been coming individual from us in the first place, that there is a mighty force and power that, quite frankly, had it been up to a lot of us, we wouldn't have survived most of the things we've endured in our lives anyway. Are you with me? I mean, if it'd been up to some of our personalities, oh my God, we would have zapped ourselves out of here a long, long, long time ago, right? But we realize that there is an energy going on, somewhat of a soul loss on our planet. We're not in denial. We are holding a space, as Reverend Richard said, that we are doing the prayer of awakening. And this is not a time for you to get self-centered, but it's a time for you to get centered in self. And that you take this time and you personally, after this Sunday morning that you've listened to all of us giving of our space, that you take this Sunday day, this Shabbat, and you personally commit to calling 15 people and reaching out to them and saying, wake up, wake up. I understand it's easy to go sleeping as you're part of a world that is hurting people in certain directions. I'm not judging the hurting. I'm just saying the hurting is going on. And you want to be attentive and awake and realize that at the end of the day, you are held accountable for your own decisions, not somebody else's. And so you want to be in your wisdom and you want to be in your intelligence, but you want to make sure that you are awake. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. And the medicine, the true medicine to wake up is to know your blessings, to know every praise. I've never heard of birds that die from starving. You know why? Because they bless the fish they're going to have in the future, already knowing it's going to be there. They recognize their blessings. And that's what I was feeling called in this particular week, that I didn't want to tell you already what the news is telling you. I didn't want to tell you the 12 things that you need to do in order to stay healthy and to stay, within your bubble of your 6 feet in any direction that you're going. I wanted to tell you that you are too blessed to be stressed. I wanted to tell you that we need to get real here, okay? We need to get real. I mean, really? We're complaining that we have to go to the grocery store more than 2 times in a week. When there are many people in the world, they don't have a grocery store. They don't have a grocery store. So we need to be aware of what we call those first world country issues and problems and challenges, because we need to be aware of common sense. I mean, to me, we are being pushed back into common sense. You're not supposed to be on top of each other anyway when you're in public settings. If you don't feel well, you're not supposed to be coughing and hacking all over me and you. You're not supposed to be flying on an airplane, because we anticipate that you would use your God-given sense to make those decisions for yourself. But we need to realize when we are talking about, I am too blessed to be stressed. Say that with me. I am too blessed to be stressed. The moment you start to count your blessings, I'm alive. I'm sober. 3 people called me last week and asked, how are you? Wow, my family, even my family likes me. I have gifts and talents. And oh my gosh. And so what if I couldn't get to that grocery store one day? We could all shed just a little bit. You understand what I'm saying? And I think we would be just fine. So we want to be aware, as we're talking about how we have been inconvenienced, that we learn that we are being moved towards an emerging world that is from virus to victory, from victim to victorious, that you can see a great light that is emerging within people. And it's important not to get into your paralysis analysis, because you can, and especially if you are one of those people that have a lot of time on your hands and you've gone back to coloring books and crayons at this point. I personally haven't had that experience yet, but I understand from social media that some of you are entering into kind of a bored place. But so when you are, then your monkey mind starts working, and you get into analysis paralysis. You even start imagining that you've got symptoms. You start thinking about stuff, and you start analyzing. Well, wonder, did it get caused in Wuhan, or did it get caused over there, or was it on this cruise ship? Does it really matter? Is that really a way to spend our time when we think about that we are too blessed to be stressed? We may never know what causes this. What we know is the cause we need to have about it, so that we create this huge, tremendous effect about it. Are you with me? Does that flow with you? Am I speaking to you today? Does this resonate with you? Because it's important. It's important to share your blessings and to be immersed in them, because you can come on the other side of this and be healthier than you've ever been, be more centered than you've ever been, and thank God, more awake than you've ever been, and more self-centered about God, and as I like to say, more full of your Creator versus being full of yourself. We have been full of ourselves way too long, because the truth is we need each other to survive. That's just plain and simple. And when this time started going on, it reminded me of a time when I was in my late 30s, and I had joined a community as an associate minister. And no longer than I was there, the minister let me know that she didn't want to share ministry. She thought she did, but she didn't. So I was a practice run, you might say. And so for 4 or 5 years, I was on this journey of it. We would call it the hero journey. Now, you would also call it the dark night of the soul. I would think I would get real close to something happening in my life. I would think another community was just getting ready to hire me in the 11th hour, and then they would change their mind. It was like one of the hardest, if not the hardest times I've ever lived through in my life, because I longed to serve. And I had had this calling since I was 5 years old, and nobody told me that it was sometimes hard. I thought it was me. Once I said, oh, I'm all in, it was just going to be easy breezy, lemon squeezy. Well, during that time, it wasn't. And I felt like I can't even hardly rub 2 rocks together and make something happen. You know what I mean? And I was an attraction magnet. I mean, I was born metaphysical. I mean, actually finding out how to take classes in metaphysics to teach me how to attract confused me because it was innate. Do you understand? I'm not being egotistical. I'm just simply saying it was the way my life had always been. It had been effortless, whether I was using it for good and for the betterment or using it with more wine than I could ever drink in my lifetime. You know, you can use the law for whatever reasons that you want to. But here I was in this dark night of the soul, and it was like nothing would come together. And I would almost get the job, I would almost get the church, and I even had friends say, you know, we love you, but if this is the way your God treats you, we're not sure that we're interested in that God. Wow, that was hard to hear. But you know, what happened is I gave up control. I stopped trying to be the minister that my teacher was. I stopped trying to do things like somebody else had told me to do. I was stripped away. Scripture calls it, you let go of that old nature. so that new nature within you will be born. And I started letting go of my attitude and my arrogance, because believe me, in my late 30s, I had a bit of it going on. And I started stepping more into that sacred humility. It was about becoming awake. It was about being on track with being the authentic me. And I believe that this is the opportunity that all of us have right here and right now, is to let go of that old nature so that new nature may be realized within each and every one of us. The power that carries is absolutely incredible. I'll close with a story of a little girl. She's all dressed up. She's walking to Sunday school, and she realizes at the Bible class that she's running a little late. And she goes, oh, dear Lord, don't let me be late. Oh, dear Lord, please don't let me be late. Well, she hits the curb, and she falls right in a little puddle there, tears her dress. She gets up. She's picking it all up, pulling up her skirt there, and she goes, oh, dear Lord, please don't let me be late. Don't let me be late. I got to get there. But don't you push me, Lord, either. You know, we're having ourselves a push right now. Make it matter in your life. Be awake. Count your blessings, and all is well. Thank you for being with us on this Sunday morning. Appreciate you. Thank you.